Hi, this is a crash course for the newly diagnosed. Start thinking about the new year and the beginning and how all this started. So this felt like the right time to talk about this kind of stuff. So if you've just been diagnosed with OCD, this one is for you. So number one, cry a little bit. It's okay. It's hard to hear that you have OCD. So it's a good thing to finally get a name for all of it. On the other hand, it's hard and scary to know that you've got to deal with this thing. Number two, research. Know what OCD is. Start to understand what it really means to have OCD, and that's going to really help you figure out, what kind of thoughts are attributed to the disorder and what kind of thoughts maybe are something else, just normal anxiety, things like that. Because it's really easy to lump all your unpleasant thoughts together, and that may not be so helpful. Next would be accept. It's so important to find some way to accept this, because for me that took kind of a while. Actually, I didn't really want to accept that I had OCD because I knew what that meant. I knew how much work was going to be involved in dealing with it and the stigma associated with it, and I was not really wanting to deal with that. But you got to accept it so that way you can move on to treatment. But next, before that, tell somebody. So tell a counselor, tell your friend, your girlfriend, boyfriend, parents, someone online who's got OCD, whatever. But it's important to tell somebody and have someone you can confide in a little bit, because having that support system can be very helpful during this. I mean, it's not uncommon to feel so alone when you have OCD. So having someone you can talk to can really help kind of take the edge off a little bit and make you feel a little less lonely. Next would be treatment options. That's the good news. You've got lots of treatment options. Most of them do, though, involve you getting outside and seeking some outside help. So that would be therapy, CBT, or cognitive behavioral, ACT or ACT. That would be acceptance and commitment therapy. That's what I did. There's also SSRIs, and those are kind of like antidepressants. They mess with your serotonin. I haven't tried those. I've got a video on why I haven't, but that's an option as well. And aside from that, whatever you decide to do, just know that you've got to do work as well. This isn't going to be up to some other source like a magic pill or, the magic therapist. You've still got to do work too. So that means you've got to make sure that you are as healthy as possible so that you are in the most conducive environment to accepting healing and transformation in that way. So this means that you've got to be working out and you've got to be eating right. When I say eating right, I'm not just talking about the food pyramid at all. A lot of studies show that anxiety and sugar are kind of like best friends. Caffeine can also trigger some adrenal fatigue, which can cause some panic and dreariness, trouble sleeping. So just know that some foods are not going to be helpful to you right now, and they actually may make your OCD worse. Also, people with depression and anxiety almost always have really low levels of vitamin B. So this is going to be very important for you to, especially if you are taking drugs like SSRIs to help flush those out of your system so they don't stack up in the liver, be taking care of yourself, getting sleep and avoiding stress. Not like running away from it. It's just that don't blindly walk into stressful situations when you know that it's going to be a problem. So, like for me, that meant that, I could not stand watching the news. It made me really, really stressed out. So I just didn't watch that for a while because it wasn't going to make me feel better during this time that I was working on this stuff. Next would be journal. That one was kind of hard too, but it was so great once I got into it. So journaling means that you write for yourself. No one's going to read it. Don't be afraid to write whatever you want because no one's going to be judging you. And this can really help you decipher your emotions a little bit, because so often we have all these unpleasant emotions like anxiety and disappointment and fear and all this kind of stuff, and they all get lumped together because they're all just so incredibly uncomfortable. But having a journal and kind of writing down what you're dealing with, giving a voice to those emotions, especially the ones that have been kind of suppressed, that can really help you understand your brain a lot more, which will help you in turn have more compassion for yourself. It's easier to say that maybe you're slightly disappointed rather than just you're sad. Getting more specific with your emotional state, giving yourself a voice. You need that. Next would be have compassion and patience. So you're not going to get better tomorrow. It's just going to take time. But you will, things can get so much better. So just have patience, take things one day at a time, know that things will get better if you just keep working at it, and don't give up on yourself. Just commit to not quitting. And having compassion is huge because it's so easy to beat yourself up, and that's not really going to help you. So basically just have compassion for yourself as much as you can, even for those little things that seem like they're not that big a deal. Still take the win. You know what I mean? And lastly, most importantly, know that OCD is not your fault, and it's not who you are. So just take things one day at a time, and, all you can do is your best. So just try. You're going to have good days and bad days. Just know that. So stay strong and take care.